He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Friday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us to close out the week on a Friday, night after the NBA draft, in which 2 more Florida Gators were drafted, 3 Gators in total. Walter Clayton to Utah, Elijah Martin to Toronto. Will Richard ultimately lands with Golden State, only the second time ever the University of Florida basketball program had 3 or more players drafted in a single NBA draft. I'm sure you can remember the last time. That was Noah, Horford, Brewer, Chris Richard, and Torian Green. 5 Gators got drafted in the NBA draft in 2008. But a great night, or a great couple of nights for Florida. We will certainly talk about that. Our NFC West preview wraps up tonight. We've made stops already in San Francisco. We made a stop in Seattle last night. Tonight we will round it out with Arizona and Los Angeles. Arizona, Tyler Drake, ArizonaSports.com. He's also the host of the Cardinals Corner podcast. Interesting offseason for Arizona, including the return of Calais Campbell. Of course, Zay Jones still out there at Arizona. How much pressure is there on Marvin Harrison Jr.? You look at all the rookie receivers last year, from Brian Thomas Jr. to Ladd McConkey to Malik Neighbors, all better statistically than Marvin Harrison Jr., who was the first receiver taken in the 2024 draft. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk Kyler Murray as well. Again, Jacksonville plays every team in the NFC West this upcoming season. We'll spend some time on Florida State tonight as well. Boy, Thomas Castellanos, his comments earlier in the week to On3, I like the confidence. I like maybe trying to light a fire. Again, he was not there for the 2-10 disaster that was last season, but a 2-10 team with a quarterback coming in from the portal, do you really want to go public and say, Nick Saban's not here to protect Alabama anymore? I don't think they can stop me. Some Florida State fans, most Florida State fans I know, hate those comments. A few liked it. We'll talk about that with Kurt Weiler of the Osceola over in Tallahassee tonight. In fact, Kurt's coming up here in hour number 1. Also, we're never going to get too far away from the Jacksonville Jaguars. My buddy Travis Holmes, Big Cat Country. He's also the host of the Duval Dive podcast. We'll talk to Travis about his thoughts on the offseason, begin previewing training camp a little bit as well. That also comes up in less than 15 minutes. Before we get to the big deal of the night, let me welcome in Dylan Denmark. Now, Denmark, your day so far has consisted of Jaguars Today with Fat Tony and Tom McManus. You then did Helmets and Heels, where I also sat in with Lauren Brooks earlier today. You just did Into the Night with Rick Ballou. And now you're capping it off with a little Hacker After Dark. As you enter hour number 7, where are you emotionally right now on this Friday evening?
I want to talk 2 more hours of Jaguar football is where I'm at.
I have no doubt. And we appreciate you being here. I'm fired up for you. I mean, you talk about just the Cal Ripken Jr. of 1010XL, Denmark's 4th show of the day. He is an absolute trooper, and we're glad he's here with us this evening. Every night on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal? No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Well, let me share a couple of big deals with you. First and foremost, as if there wasn't enough pressure already on Travis Hunter entering this season, Heisman Trophy winner, number 2 overall pick. You realize what Jacksonville gave up to take Travis Hunter. He looks like he's going to play both ways, wide receiver and defensive back. You add all that, and you put this on top of it. Denmark, I want to report to you that in the Latex universe, actually, no, this is the other one. This is my other fantasy football league, not the Latex, not the Seinfeld one. In my current fantasy football league, my dynasty league, the FFPL that I'm in, I can report that I have just drafted Travis Hunter with the number 3 overall rookie pick.
That's insane.
It's pretty good stuff. Now, again, Ashton Genty went number 1. I was thinking Hunter was going to go 2, and I was going to be settled with Amari and Hampton, which I was totally fine with. But moments ago, Hampton goes number 2, having Travis Hunter just fall right in my lap. And Denmark, this is also an IDP league, man.
So you got 2 for 1.
So if he plays both ways, I get the points from the defensive back and Travis Hunter, the wide receiver. So I'm very, very excited about that. All right, big deal of the night. And it's not so much a big deal necessarily tonight as more as it is kind of a big question. The summer, right? We all love it. It's the travel season. I got one more vacation coming up in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to it. I know a lot of those of you out there have gotten away or will get away before school starts, certainly back up in early to mid-August. But from a sports sense, and I've always, as a sports radio host going on, this is year 23 for me, I absolutely hate when I hear people say, oh, there's just not a lot going on. There's a ton going on. It never ends, right? Now, football, basketball, baseball, I mean, baseball's in the middle of their season, so football and basketball, you might have to search for stuff to talk about, but that's why we get paid the big bucks, right, in sports radio. That's why we earn our money this time of year. Denmark, I know that everybody out there listening, or I think a majority of people out there listening, are football fans, either NFL, college, or both, right? I would imagine most are basketball fans to an extent, either college or NBA. There's a lot of people that are Major League Baseball fans, some people that are college baseball fans. But my question to you, and I'll answer it myself, and we'll take some text on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 641-1010. Do you have a guilty pleasure in sports? Is there a sport that maybe isn't popular with your buddies? Is there a sport that maybe isn't popular among most casual sports fans, but that you love, that you just eat up? Denmark, I'll start with you. Outside of the big boys, outside of football, basketball, baseball, is there another sport that you get behind that you enjoy watching?
Not really. I mean, I'll watch a little bit of NASCAR when the season usually starts, for like the Daytona 500. I feel like my friends do not watch that.
That would append to you as a track guy.
Yeah, okay, so I watch track, but I don't necessarily watch it live. Like, I will know that, someone is running, like Christian Miller from Creekside High School, who just graduated last year. Like, I'll know, like, I follow him on Instagram. I'll see, like, okay, he's running on, Saturday at 7 o'clock. And if I'm in front of the TV, I'll turn on the TV or go to YouTube, whatever. But I know I can find the clip right after, and I'll find that clip right after. So that's not so much live. But, yeah, track would be one. NASCAR, kind of. I really don't really pay attention to NASCAR, but really that's about it.
For me, obviously, football is number one, and I'm probably 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. I might be a smidge more on the NFL side, but it's close. I love both of them very, very much. I love the NBA, right? College basketball as well. Those are probably my first 4. The 2 football ones, the 2 basketball ones. But honestly, baseball, yeah, okay, I like it. I know enough to be able to talk about it because I feel you have to in this line of work, but I don't love baseball. I used to, not anymore. Hockey, kind of the same thing. I'll tell you what I love, and this goes back to when I was a kid, and the reason I bring it up is it begins on Monday. If I had a sports bucket list, this would be one of the locations that I want to go. And I understand that in the United States of America, this is not the most popular sport because we don't control this sport. We don't own this sport like maybe we did in the 1980s and the early to mid 1990s. Man, I'm fired up for Wimbledon. I've always loved Wimbledon. And I know that a lot of people don't, and that's fine. There are probably some things that you guys out there like that maybe I don't. That's what makes the world go round. That's what makes sports talk radio great. We don't all have to enjoy the same things. But I remember growing up, by that I mean 8, 9, 10 years old, and turning on, it was on HBO at the time. HBO had the rights to Wimbledon for whatever reason. It was weird. I'm sure a lot of you remember that are my age or a little older. But I would turn on HBO in the early 90s, man, and I'd be watching Andre Agassi and Pete Sampras and Boris Becker and Goran Ivanisevic and Ivan Lendl and Stefan Edberg and all of these guys, right? Tim Henman Hill, they're at Wimbledon. Denmark, I'm willing to bet you don't have a clue who a majority of those guys are.
No, you're speaking a foreign language right now.
Do you know Andre Agassi?
I know the name.
Do you know Pete Sampras?
Know the name.
Okay. Well, those are always the Americans. And I don't go as far back as Jimmy Connors or John McEnroe because I really didn't watch them in their prime. I'm talking about the early to mid-90s. But I was locked. And for whatever reason, during the summer, if it was too hot to go outside, I would just turn on Wimbledon. And there was just something about it, man. And it made me a tennis fan. Now, I understand in the United States, right, because we don't control and own the sport and we're not very good at it, with the caveat that I think there's some young guys that are getting better. But let's be honest. For the last 25 years, it's been Roger Federer, it's been Rafa Nadal, it's been Novak Djokovic, sprinkle in Andy Murray. But those times are coming and going. Federer's retired, Nadal's retired, Murray's retired, Djokovic is the last one standing. He's 38 years old. There is going to be a changing of the guard. And if you look at Wimbledon, there's a lot of Americans, whether it's Taylor Fritz, Tommy Paul, Shelton, Ben Shelton, the Gator. There's a lot of Americans that could make some noise beginning with Wimbledon on Monday. But the All England Club, the grass, just everything about it, wearing the all whites, I'm just eating it up forever and ever and ever. So my point in all that is this. If you're counting down the days to football, right, if you're counting down the days to this, that, or the other, I don't ever do that anymore. Like I'll tell you, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. But I used to literally do a daily countdown. I used to be the 79 days till football or the 64 days till football. Not anymore. I enjoy what the sports world gives me. I understand that when football gets here, how crazy my life will be, which is probably why I don't wish time away any longer. But me personally, come Monday morning at 7 a.m., bet your bottom dollar, I will be locked in to the All England Club to Wimbledon 2025. Jaguar football, never far from the top of our mind as well. Obviously, like we mentioned, the Jaguars are about 3.5 weeks away from getting back with training camp. The rookies report on the 19th, the veterans report on the 22nd. Let's talk a little Jaguar offseason. Let's look ahead to training camp, some position battles as well. I know that's what you guys want. That's what we'll give to you here on Hacker After Dark. Travis Holmes, Big Cat Country. He's also the host of the Duval Dive podcast. He joins me next on a Friday evening here in Northeast Florida. We're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It begins with a dream.
Cinderella Starry, a former greenskeeper now about to become the Masters champion. It looks like I'm a wreck. It's in the hole!
1010XL.
It's in the hole!
92.5 FM.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal.
Pretty nice weather we're having, huh?
You think this is nice?
I mean, it's sunny, warm. We do live in Florida.
It's not all upside, Jason. Warm weather comes, so all the cool people hit the beach. My old air conditioner craps out, so it's 1,000 degrees inside, and I'm stuck on a video call in my underpants trying not to sweat through my...
Wait. Put these sunglasses on.
I'm not gonna put on your... Whoa.
The air conditioning experts at Bueller Air and Plumbing can keep your home office cool and comfortable all summer long. You look good in your meeting, impress the big guy with your cool confidence, maybe finally make assistant deputy regional manager.
Wow, air conditioning can do that?
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend all summer worried the weather is going to be too nice, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford.
In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think.
Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
Hey, Hicken here, and every Friday I'll help you put together your sports weekend so you know where you want to go and what you want to do. Watch for Musings with the Media Mogul on YouTube and Facebook, locked down by Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach.
Tired of a plain and boring backyard? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop choice to beautify your home. With pavers, stonework, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces, pergolas, and driveways. Visit stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball at the newly renovated VyStar Ballpark is your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game and kids round the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jumboshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguar offseason pretty much done, right? OTAs in the rearview mirror, mini camp in the rearview mirror. We are roughly a month away from training camp. Let's look back at mini camp. Let's look ahead to what training camp is going to look like in a month's time with Travis Holmes. You hear him on the Duval Dive podcast. You also read his terrific work at Big Cat Country, and Travis is always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Travis, how you doing?
Oh, I am doing wonderful, sir. It's vacation time, so everybody's kind of enjoying that downtime before this thing gets, super busy in the next few weeks. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, there's no doubt it's going to be very busy in about a month's time when training camp commences. Travis, you and I haven't really spoke since OTAs, and certainly haven't spoke on air since minicamp. Your overall thoughts, mile-high view of the roster, kind of the offseason as a whole. How would you summarize the last 4 or 5 months now for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Honestly, it's probably as expected, and that's not a bad thing or a great thing. It's just kind of just an observation. If you believed in Liam Cohen when they brought him in, if you believe in James Gladstone when they brought him in, then you believed in the process that they were going to show you. They've shown a moderately, competent. That's the best word I can choose for it, and a competent process overall this offseason, and they've sort of built a roster that's going to lean on these young guys as they come in. So a lot of versatile guys, a lot of guys who can play multiple positions, whether that's in the secondary, on the offensive line, the receiver group, etc. And yeah, it's going to all be based on a lot of belief in whether or not they're going to be able to do what they've done in previous stops. So overall, if you like the hires originally, you're probably going to like the roster as it's currently put together, and we'll just kind of see where it all lands over the next few weeks.
Let's talk about the biggest story of this roster, and that is Travis Hunter. We saw him now OTAs, rookie minicamp, and mandatory veteran minicamp. A lot of wide receiver, some defensive back. I know the final day he played both. Your thoughts on what you've seen out of the Heisman Trophy winner out of Colorado?
Hey man, it was a fun final day. Tip of the cap from the the EVP, the general manager, who obviously has that media training to know that this is what the fans want to see, right? This is what the media wants to see. You want to see Travis Hunter playing both sides of the ball, and then we're going to give it to you on the final day. Just to make that be the final kind of thought that everyone's talking about in that month of that dead zone. So tip of the cap to those guys for doing that, both for the media and for the fans. But also, yeah, you've seen what you expect to see from Travis Hunter if you've watched any of his college film. He's a freaking athlete who can run forever. He's a ball of energy, and he's kind of is who he is. If you watch his streams on the YouTube or on the Twitch or wherever else, that is who he is. He's dancing. He's a ball of energy. He's bringing the joy back to the game of football and acts like a guy who truly loves it. You love to see it. But if you're talking on the field, we're still talking about a guy who's wearing shorts and a t-shirt while mimicking real NFL football. Obviously we'll wait till when we have the pads on and see what this thing really looks like, but overall is exactly what you want to see from your number 2 pick in the NFL draft, man.
Travis Holmes is the host of the Duval Dive podcast. You also read his work there at Big Cat Country. Travis, we've spent so much time talking Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence. There was a time last week at minicamp where Brian Thomas Jr. was lying on the ground for about 2 minutes, and you really didn't know what the situation was. Then he popped up, walked off the field. Liam Cohen said it was a shoulder. He could have gone back in that day. They held him out as a precaution, and then sure enough, on the final day of minicamp, Brian Thomas Jr. was back out there. But for those 2 minutes on Wednesday that he was on the ground, Travis, I found myself thinking, man, all the talk about Hunter, all the talk about Lawrence, and with good reason, but I'm not so sure the best player and arguably the most important player, non-quarterback, on this roster is Brian Thomas Jr.
I mean, of course, but everyone loves the new and shiny, and that's no disrespect to Travis Hunter because he's obviously the shiniest and the newest thing in that NFL draft of 2025. But Brian Thomas Jr. is undoubtedly the guy who's going to make this thing run, and then Travis Hunter doesn't have to be in 2025. Now, if he is, this is a great situation for the Jacksonville Jaguars to be in. But to be clear, the engine that runs this offense is going to be Trevor Lawrence via Brian Thomas Jr. And if Travis Hunter shows up and just is able to kind of catapult himself in front of Brian Thomas Jr., that's a wonderful situation for Duval County, but it doesn't have to be the case for 2025. So you're right. This is Brian Thomas Jr.'s passing game, we'll say, as far as the pass catchers of this group. But yeah, you like to have a situation just like Brian Thomas Jr. was when he was brought in 2024. He didn't have to be the guy, but you really hoped he would be the guy, if that made sense.
Again, helmets and shorts, as you mentioned, but it's all we can go on right now until training camp arrives. What's been your offseason thought on Trevor Lawrence?
I mean, honestly, up and down, and that's kind of expected when you're talking about you're making all these, you're making the adjustments on the small things, getting his feet and, timing and order and things of that nature while you're learning a new offense. You're also working with receivers who are also learning that offense. And when you're playing any amount of zone, that's going to be the conversation of what our guy is going to be in the right spot. Are you both going to be seeing the field in the same way? You may be seeing it as a situation where you need to sit down, but I'm seeing it in a situation where you need to keep running through the coverage. Kind of those things that they want to work out and kind of try out in camp. So I never get too high or too low when I'm seeing a good day or a bad day when they're, this early in the learning season of the off season, especially with the new offense. So because of all that, you just combine all of that information with his soldier surgery, with his soreness and having to wear the sleeve and everything else, all of that. I'm just like, all right, this is probably as expected. You're going to have some good days, some bad days, but overall, I think he's had adequate and maybe even above average NFL football play for a guy still learning a new offense that's moderately complicated.
Final moments. Travis Holmes, the host of the Duval Dive podcast. You also read his great work there at Big Cat Country. All right, Travis, let's fast forward about a month's time to training camp. Look, I think the offensive line is fascinating. They brought 6 guys in, either in pro free agency or the draft. I think there's some terrific battles to be had there. I look at safety as a position that they're going to have to cut a guy or two that might open some eyes among the fan base. And I think there's a legit competition between Etienne and Bigsby for that running back number 1 spot. What's your thought?
Whew. So let me start with the last one. I think that's the more fun one, just in general. When you're talking about Tank Bigsby versus Travis Etienne, obviously Etienne being on that 5th-year option, Bigsby still being on his rookie on his early part of his rookie contract, like that makes total sense. And if you're watching these guys on the field, Bigsby does look better. And I'm not saying again this means much of anything. The guys aren't wearing pads. We're not seeing pass protection. We're not seeing guys actually make contact like that. But he does look fast. He does look in shape. He's actually lining up in the right spots. He's catching the ball out of the backfield. And those are all things that he wasn't always necessarily the best at. So I'm going to take that as an arrow pointing up moment at least. And then you're talking about, Travis Etienne when everyone's kind of talking about Liam's comments in reference to the recent reports surrounding Etienne. One of those key things that he made in that comment was, this is kind of hard to distinguish, what's going on with these guys until we can get pads on and see how they run through contact, see how they fall forward, see all these types of things. This is my paraphrasing. So I'm like, well, that's to me means, hey, is Travis Etienne going to be that guy? Because in past years, we've seen where he's often, maybe struggled a little bit, falling forward, struggled a little bit, maybe getting through contact and those types of things, and maybe even pass protection. So those questions still remain despite Liam Cohen's comments. So that's going to be a really intriguing conversation because my edge, just me personally, is going to always be to the younger guy, and that's going to be Tank Bigsby. And then we'll just see where LaQuint Allen and Bashaw Tutin lands there. But that's as far as the running back room. That's my land. that safety conversation, we just had a great conversation on the Duval Dive podcast this past Monday, discussing where the Jacksonville Jaguars safety group currently lies before we've seen these guys in pads, before they've had the ability to earn it on the field. And we kind of link them at that maybe below average category currently, again, based on what we've seen on the field. We haven't seen Darnell Savage be a top safety in the league yet. We haven't seen Eric Murray be a top safety in the league yet. Caleb Ransall hasn't had the ability to kind of show what he's going to do there. So there are some questions that really need to be answered there. But to your point, it's going to be a very interesting competition. I have a theory that maybe Anthony Campanelli is going to be running more of those 3 safety sets like the Houston Texans did with Eric Murray and Petrie. I think that might be something that could be on the table. So I'm just kind of curious to see how that's going to land. So we'll definitely be talking about it on the field, though.
And then finally, we got 60 seconds. The offensive line. That might be the most compelling position battles moving into camp.
Well, yes, because we're going to find out exactly how this front office feels about Anton Harrison. I mean, that's the big one. I mean, Ezra Cleveland is also another big ticket conversation. I mean, frankly, just to be real, now that I say it out loud, all 3 of these guys, Walker Little, Ezra Cleveland, and Anton Harrison, are big conversation pieces. If you think about the fact that the Minnesota Vikings moved off of Ezra Cleveland when Pat Udinski was the OC there, that's a conversation piece worth kind of having when you have Wyatt Millum in the fold there. Anton Harrison, the recent comments within the coaching staff talking about the fact that, when Anton wants to do it, he'll do it. And kind of those types of comments make you kind of question, is he going to give that effort? Is he going to show up in that run game specifically? And the whole Walker Little question is the same question that we've had throughout his career. Is he going to step up and show some consistency? We'll see.
You get Travis Holmes as the host of the Duval Dive podcast. You can also read his terrific work there at BigCatCountry.com. Travis, appreciate the time. Enjoy the month of downtime, and I will see you out there at training camp in about a month.
Yes, sir.
There you go, Travis Holmes, Big Cat Country, and the host of the Duval Dive podcast. There's a lot of questions about the Jaguars. We'll start getting answers to those questions in training camp. Again, the preseason begins, I believe, on August the 9th is the first preseason game. 3 preseason games in total. A joint practice down in Miami against the Miami Dolphins. And look, these division previews are interesting, particularly this week with the NFC West. You think about the Jaguars' schedule. All right, the teams that you normally play, you got 3 games, obviously, or 6 games, rather, against your division rivals, 2 against Houston, 2 against Tennessee, and then, of course, 2 against the Indianapolis Colts. You got the opener here against Carolina, which that is an enormous game. They need to win that game against Carolina. There's absolutely no doubt about that. You play the AFC West. You get Kansas City here, and I believe you get the Chargers here, right? Because you got to go to Las Vegas, and you got to go to Denver. Yeah, so Chargers and the Chiefs are here. And then you get the NFC West. You get the Rams in London at Wembley Stadium. Seattle's here. You got to travel to Arizona. You got to travel to San Francisco. 4 West Coast trips for the Jaguars this year and across the pond to London. They're going to be getting their frequent flyer miles. Absolutely no question about that. Our NFC West preview will conclude with both Arizona and Los Angeles. That comes up in the 9 o'clock hour. Shifting gears to the world of college football. We've done a ton of Gators. I want to do a little bit of Florida State. Coming off a 2-10 disaster, 2 new coordinators, a ton of transfer guys, including the quarterback, Thomas Castellanos, who made some noise this week by essentially calling out Alabama. Florida State's season opener there on August 30th. Asked about by On3.com about that season opener, Thomas Castellanos, who, by the way, has never taken a snap in a game for Florida State as quarterback to this point, says that Alabama, he doesn't think is going to be able to stop him, and they don't have Nick Saban to defend them anymore. Those comments have definitely picked up traction in the state of Alabama. I can tell you that. Bulletin board material only gets you so far. It's good fodder for guys like me. But that's a huge game, not only for Florida State, the home opener, the reopening of Doak Campbell Stadium at full capacity. It's a big game for Alabama. It was not a successful first year for Kalen DeBoer. Not that he's under pressure necessarily, but that's a big game right out of the gate for Alabama on national TV against the Seminoles. Let's talk about Florida State's offseason. Let's talk Gus Malzahn. Let's talk Mike Norvell, Thomas Castellanos, and more. Kurt Weiler of the Osceola, that's part of the Rivals Network. From Tallahassee, he joins me next, right here on a Friday evening in the city of Jacksonville, heading into the weekend. It's Hacker After Dark.
Summer's a great time for 1010XL, so turn up the heat and stay cool with 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org.
This 4th of July, Navy Mutual would like to salute Joe DiMaggio as our hero in sports. Nicknamed the Yankee Clipper, you know Joe for his record 56-game hitting streak that may never be touched. But he was also a sergeant during World War II.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Share your voice anytime on the 1010XL text line.
Are you serious? Installed by Lifetime Flooring.
I gotta say, you're totally blowing my mind right now.
If you can't call or email, text us 641-1010.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is thrilled to announce you can get all of their flavors and original vodka at PJ Liquors in St. Augustine. PJ Liquors, since 1999, has been serving up summertime fun. Now enjoy Brackish Vodka, the #1 local vodka in North Florida. Brackish Vodka is the first clean craft vodka, and you can find their 9 flavors at PJ Liquors. Brackish Vodka, for whatever your sport is, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacks Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacks Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service. 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Frank Frangie here for Coil Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports moments. Remember Hal Sutton when he famously said, "Be the right club today"? Well, that's what Coil Fencing delivers. The right fence today. And they've been delivering the right fencing for both commercial and residential properties for nearly 100 years. If you're in the market for a new fence, call Coil & Sons today at 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
Tucker Equipment Rental in Neptune Beach. You just don't rent quality machines, you rent quality customer service. Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Dave. Tucker Equipment Rental has been supplying Jacksonville with equipment and event rental for over 50 years.
From commercial and homeowner projects, we've got what you need: lifts, dirt equipment, and landscape equipment.
And don't forget about event rentals, from festivals to weddings to backyard barbecues.
Local, knowledgeable, and always ready to help.
Tucker Equipment Rentals.
You need it, we've got it, come see us.
Hi folks, Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Dan Hicken with a game changer. I've tested the field, and Checkmate Coatings is my new go-to for durable, jaw-dropping floor coating. Better play, better results.
I'm Brendan with Checkmate Coatings. We coat it all: garages, pool decks, driveways, and patios. Be the envy of your neighbors.
Slam dunk your floors at checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
If life blindsided you tomorrow, would your family struggle? I'm Cody with Harborstone Financial, and I can help. One call could protect your family for life. 904-885-9566. Harborstone Financial.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. As we reach the end of June, you start looking at that calendar and you quickly realize we are inside of 2 months until week 0 of the college football season. In fact, we're only, 3 weeks away, less than 3 weeks away from SEC Media Days, ACC Media Days soon after that, as we are chugging right along to the 2025 college football season. Let's head to the state capital, to Tallahassee, check in on the Florida State Seminoles, what has been a very eventful offseason for them. One of our guys in Tallahassee is Kurt Weiler of the Osceola, and Kurt's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Kurt, it's been a little while, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm enjoying that one little break in the calendar we get before, things ramp up here pretty soon.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You were going to get a break, and you still are, and then Thomas Castellanos has to say what he did about Alabama. First and foremost, for people that didn't see it, he was doing an interview with a website, and he was asked about Alabama, and I'm paraphrasing here. I'm sure you have the exact quote, but he essentially said, they don't have Nick Saban to save them anymore, and I don't think they can stop me. What has been kind of the reaction in Tallahassee to those comments?
The reaction, in Tallahassee, it's certainly an interesting one. I think it's certainly a polarizing one. I think a lot of people would point to where Florida State's been and maybe it's not the time for that. But he wasn't a part of that. And I don't know. I think there are people. I think there are people who wish he didn't say any of it. I think there are people who appreciate some of what he said, but he maybe took it a bit too far in moments. But the truth is, to me, I think there are some people who realize, confidence like that is what last year's team sorely lacked and what really let the things go off the rails as severely as they did. And so obviously, the confidence without backing it up doesn't mean much. But, there's certainly a lot of belief in that program right now from the guys that they brought in like Tommy. And you hope that's contagious to the rest of the roster. And they're certainly not lacking in confidence, which can be a good thing.
That's fair. I almost think it's like lighting a fire under that program. They're coming off a 2-10. Maybe they need something to kind of rally around, and bulletin board material has never actually won a football game. Alabama's still going to have to go out there and beat Florida State on the field. Obviously, Castellanos pretty confident in his own abilities. What about him as the starting quarterback there at Florida State? I know, Kurt, he's familiar with Gus Malzahn. He had a year with Gus at UCF. What's the expectation for the new FSU quarterback?
I think he is exactly what they need in a stopgap as they're transitioning to this offense. I mean, obviously the familiarity helps, but I think what Florida State thought they were going to have last year was the run game, and they didn't. And once they didn't have the run game, DJ was not a quarterback that was just going to be able to operate an offense without a successful run game to kind of support him and make things easier. And obviously DJ was far from the only problem. There were lots of problems. The offensive line was not good. The receiver room wasn't good. The running backs, although not set up for success, kind of didn't make those extra plays. I think Tommy, especially in this offense where, I mean, QB run, we've seen it be a big part of it with a number of different quarterbacks throughout his time at Auburn, at UCF. I mean, dating back to Tulsa, dating back to high school. The mobile quarterback, the truly mobile quarterback, has changed the number, can change the numbers. I think that's what they're hopeful he does. I mean, not only I think are they optimistic about how much better the run game can be with the running backs. They brought in 4 offensive line transfers. They really revamped that room. But I think they're hopeful that, I mean, as we saw at times during Jordan Tavis's time, maybe earlier, before it felt like they were a little more hesitant to keep him from running as much later in his career, but early in his career, I think you saw what the threat of Jordan doing, whether he ran or not, can do for the run game. And I think they're hopeful that can bring the same boost. I mean, he is a true freakish athlete who I know was set the scene on fire somewhat in South Georgia as a high school product, and had those moments at Boston College too. It didn't end well, but it kind of felt like it wasn't a good fit there with Bill O'Brien. So this is a much better fit.
Kurt Weiler of the Osceola with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Kurt, I want to talk about the rest of the roster, but let's get to Mike Norvell, and let's rewind the clock back last year. You and I talked a lot last season. You've obviously had a long time to think about it. You cover that team as close as anybody. I mean, it was a disaster, right? I mean, 2-10 just doesn't happen at Florida State. A lot of heads rolled, new coordinators. Obviously, you mentioned how active they were in the transfer portal. Have you or anybody else in Tallahassee figured out what the heck happened last season?
I mean, there's no one thing to point to. To me, like to go from 13-1 to 2-10 is like I mean, you could almost point at everything as a problem. I mean, I was on the front train of thinking, kind of as the year played out, I only felt more vindicated and more justified in thinking that the after effects of the snub changed the culture of the team. And I think Mike Norvell underestimated how big a deal that was when he spends a whole year messaging to his team that, you know, as long as we win all our games, it'll take care of itself. We'll get our opportunity. They did that. They didn't. And I think when you're hearing that all year, it can change kind of how your messaging is perceived subconsciously. I'm not sure consciously, but I think that plays a role for sure in terms of the returning players. Obviously, they lost a lot of talent off that 2023 team. They replaced it with, I mean, I think a lot of what they've done through the portal was bring in proven guys who've been productive at the G5, if not the P4 level. Last year, it was more high upside guys like Malik Benson, guys like Marvin Jones Jr., guys in that sort. And I think the risk of high upside guys who haven't maybe proven it a ton at this level is if they don't take that leap, you're not getting the player you thought you were. And I think that played out. I mean, they misjudged what they thought they had. They thought they had a veteran offensive line that was going to really be the strength of the team. That was so far from the case. I think they thought the run game would be able to set up a really fast receiver room that would really transform the offense. That did not play out. I think the defense, kind of you felt them. I mean, as things really started to go off the rails, I think you saw just like an effort level somewhat change from that side of the ball, which, I mean, you don't want to say it's understandable, but it's human that when they're seeing a putrid offense, it's going to be hard to keep that same level of motivation for the defense. And just, I think it was, I mean, there was hope of the continuity of the coaching staff that could do some good. I mean, they had been almost entirely the same coaching staff for Mike Norvell's entire tenure. And I think last year showed the other side of that. I mean, messaging can get stale. Teams can adapt. And when you're so portal reliant, you miss on a portal class, that's what can happen.
Couple more for Kurt Weiler of the Osceola. Kurt, we talked about Gus Malzahn. What about former Jaguar Terrence Knighton, who takes over on as part of that defensive staff? He comes in from Nebraska along with the brand new defensive coordinator. Give your thoughts on the new defensive staff there in Florida State.
I think people really like what they've heard. I mean, you watch a Tony White interview and you come away quite impressed with him. I mean, obviously he's a guy. It's a pretty unique defense. It's classified as a 3-3-5, but kind of he always hesitates to call it that, and he kind of wants it to more be known as a versatile defense that can be in a lot of looks. It can show you one thing and be something else. Pressure can come from surprising places. I mean, it's unpredictable, and I think that is a nice change of pace for a team that, like, the past few years, I would say I would not classify Adam Fuller's defenses as particularly hard, like unpredictable. I felt like a lot of times you knew what you were going to get. There was some, but probably not enough of the unpredictability that can catch offenses off guards, can create either negative plays or even takeaways. And I think that is something they're really hopeful, and the numbers bear out that Tony White's defense historically have been good at takeaways, have been good against the run, have done a great job. I mean, at a number of schools, his track record's really good. And Terrence Knighton, I think Odell Hagan still being around the program, but kind of taking a step back to more of an advisory role, I think has really paved the path for a new young voice in that room who I think has been received really well. I mean, one of the first things Terrence Knighton did was kind of sell Darrell Jackson successfully on coming back for his last year of eligibility, a huge defensive tackle who I think there were real questions about they were going to be losing 4 starters on the defensive line if Darrell Jackson didn't come back. And I think that is a huge, the kind of like roster win that you don't think about is getting a guy like that who very well could have been drafted to return. And I think Terrence Knighton has done a good job on that front, brought a few guys he had familiarity with from Nebraska or other places, and I think has done a really good job rebuilding that room and has a good understanding of what that 3-3-5 defensive line needs to look like.
Kurt, I want to end with a general thought on Norvell, but from a roster standpoint, we talked about the quarterback. As far as the roster itself, is it a better roster, in your opinion, than what they had a year ago?
Yes, I think it is definitely a better roster. My concern would be, and this is honestly the truth a lot of places, outside of a select few programs that are really rolling in today's NIL era with how rampant the portal is, I have some concerns about depth at a few positions. I think if they stay healthy in the right spots, I think it could be a really good year. But obviously, I mean, even beyond quarterback, I think receiver, they have a few proven guys. Beyond that, it would have to be guys stepping up. Offensive line is kind of a same situation where they've got 5 guys who've transferred in who have played a lot of college football. And outside of that, it's not a ton of that, and it's guys who would have to be unproven. I think the same could be said on the defensive line. The secondary, I think they brought in a transfer in Jeremiah Wilson, who was a really good corner last year at Houston. But other than that, they lost 3 starters. They have a lot of question marks there that will need to be addressed. So I think it is certainly a better roster. I think they did a better job of returning to the production over potential in portal additions. And obviously it was Mike Gravel's one of his better high school classes. I mean, even coming off of the season they just had. So I think it is, but I think that's reliant on, as is true a lot of places, good fortunate health luck.
You know, Kurt, when you look at the schedule, I mean, obviously we know Alabama, Clemson, Miami, Florida. That's not exactly easy. There's a weird game at Stanford all the way on the other side of the country. I mean, it's not an easy schedule by any stretch of the imagination, but I've made the point the entire offseason. I mean, Florida State could have a massive win improvement. I mean, if they go from 2-10 to 7-5, I mean, that's gigantic. But you and I both know the fan base would be ticked, right, at 7-5, or do you think they're more realistic this year?
7-5 is an interesting one. I mean, you have to be more realistic coming off of what just was. I mean, if you go into this season with the expectation of, yes, they were 13-0, they went to 2-10. This year they're back to like 10 wins. I mean, you're setting yourself up for unrealism and disappointment. It's just not how it's expected to go. It's an interesting schedule because they have those 4 tough games you mentioned where they're probably going to be sizable underdogs. And then they have 8 where they're probably going to be favorites. I mean, maybe not big favorites in all of them. I mean, road trips at Virginia, like you mentioned, Stanford. I mean, hosting a number of teams that they could be okay, could beat them if they're not on their game, but they should be favored. But I think it's a really interesting schedule in that there's kind of that duality. It doesn't feel like there are a ton of true toss-up games. It feels like there's the 4 you mentioned that they'll be underdogs in, and then the 8 that I think you feel good about. I mean, you can't expect to win all the 8 games you're expected to be like somewhat small favorites in. But I think 7-5 becomes interesting because it's so much about the how does it play out? Like, what are the optics of 7-5? Are you beating a lot of teams that you should be beating comfortably, or I mean, did you have really good single like one-score game record? Did you get lucky in kind of one-score games and have one of those years that breaks your way? I mean, so much of it to me comes down to that. There will be people who want him fired at 7-5, and to them, I would say it's $50 million. Don't you think that $50 million could be used elsewhere? I would say 7-5 is absolutely worthy of another year, and beyond that is where you wonder how things go. But again, that's a lot of money, and this is not a school that was ever paid anything close to that buyout. I mean, few have.
We got 60 seconds. How's the stadium looking?
It's coming along. I mean, it's been that off season. The stadium, I think they're finishing at the end of July, about a month from now, and I think they're gonna have some events in there in August, and then obviously the huge opening against Alabama August 30th. And then not long after that, in mid-September, the new football facility, football operations facility right across from the stadium is going to be open, attached to the practice field. And so it's been a transformative offseason around the Florida State football program.
Kurt, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, the Florida State fans, about the Osceola, where they can find you and what they can look forward to in the coming weeks.
Yeah, it's we're on the Rivals Network right now. Obviously, I don't know if you know, there's some merger stuff going on there now, but I know there will be more news soon about the Osceola's future in a new landscape.
Well, that's exciting to hear, and we'll certainly get that out when that news does come out. Kurt Weiler of the Osceola, he's one of our guys when it comes to Florida State. Kurt, appreciate it. We'll hopefully talk at least one more time before the opener against Alabama. Thank you, pal.
Sounds good, Ryan. Thanks.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
You got a plan?
Consummate professionals.
Not really. Kind of thought we'd just wing it, make it up as we go.
They are the drill.
Yeah. That's my plan.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Millard Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Millard Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Millard Electric Company. Apply today at millardcareers.com. Millard Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Oh, no. No.
You okay in there?
Toilet's backed up. It won't flush.
Okay, I'll call the pros.
The tank isn't filling. The handle does nothing. Run for your life.
Don't be so dramatic. Duck Rooter will fix it.
For any plumbing issue, call Duck Rooter, your local plumbing professionals, and proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. DuckDuckRooter.com.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach. Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
Find out how you can be part of the cure for blood cancer at the Light the Night Walk at Five Star Ballpark November 22nd. Take the first step at lightthenight.org.
Veterans, first responders, and law enforcement officers deserve the best treatment. That's why ETMS Florida provides a free, drug-free electromagnetic treatment that helps lower symptoms of PTSD, anxiety, insomnia, and depression. Learn more at etmsflorida.com.
Hope Haven believes in children and youth with special needs and abilities and has developed programs to help ensure their success. Find out more about their employment services and internship program at hope-haven.org.
There's a critical need for all blood types. Please consider donating at a local blood donation center.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010xl.com.
You tired of high energy bills? Replace those inefficient windows and patio doors now. Don't miss Renewal by Anderson's 30th anniversary sale. Buy one window or patio door and get one 30% off. Financing options are available and this offer expires June 30th. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Our son Eric's a Division I collegiate baseball pitcher who is having shoulder pain. We took him to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and are confident that he's now on the road to recovery. This is Beth Anderson, and we love the care Eric receives at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Sports fans, this is David Garrard here, and if you're suffering from orthopedic soreness, make an appointment at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where everyone is treated like a pro.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise in towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
June is Men's Health Month, and here's your reminder to be proactive and get screened for early detection at Ackerman Cancer Center. Many cancer instances are largely preventable and treatable. So take steps now to minimize your risk factors at AckermanCancerCenter.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock, as we do every night, taking you into the weekend here on a Friday. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Coming up this hour, our NFC West preview concludes. We will make a stop in Arizona. Tyler Drake, ArizonaSports.com. He's also the host of the Cardinals Corner podcast. We will also go out to Los Angeles. Brock Vieira of the Rams on SI, as we'll take a look back at the off seasons for both Arizona and the LA Rams. And then we've been doing these division previews dating back to early May. Next week is the NFC South. We'll make stops in Tampa, New Orleans, Atlanta, and Carolina. The week after that will be the AFC South. I'm on vacation the following week, and then training camp is here. We told you we're doing one division a week leading up to Jaguar training camp, at least while I'm on the air, and that's exactly what we're going to do, because after the NFC South next week, the AFC South in 2 weeks, I'm on vacation, and then when I return, it will be training camp 2025. Quickly, I didn't realize this because you just kind of look at the calendar. We're at the halfway point, or in some instances, past the halfway point in Major League Baseball. Boy, that got here quick, didn't it? Most teams have played 81, 82 games. Of course, the halfway point is 81. Denmark, I was looking at this earlier. You just saw the Dodgers and the Rockies. You saw Shohei go deep on Tuesday night there at Coors Field. Do you know how many games out of first place in the division the Colorado Rockies are in the NL West?
Well, they have 18 wins, and the Dodgers have 52. So 33-ish.
Whoa, yeah, you're pretty much spot on. 32 and a half.
Yeah.
32 and a half. The Rockies are the midway point, 18 and 63. The second worst record in baseball win-wise. All right, the Chicago White Sox are pretty terrible, too. They're 26 and 55. They're 24 and a half games out of first place in the AL Central. The Tampa Bay Rays, man, they're in a battle right now with Baltimore, which is ridiculous. They were up 6-0 and blew it. I think it's 8-7 Baltimore now in the fifth. I don't know how they do it every single year. Well, I do know how they do it. They get all-star caliber players, develop all-star caliber players like Tyler Glasnow and Randy Arozarena and Blake Snell. And then when they get too expensive, they trade them for 2 or 3 minor leaguers. And you don't think anything about the minor leaguers. All the talk is Arozarena going to Seattle, or Glasnow going wherever, or Blake Snell going wherever. That's the big story. The 3 minor leaguers that the Rays get in return in those trades aren't the story. But those 3 minor leaguers are going to be their next all-stars in 2 or 3 years. It's a never-ending cycle in Tampa. You name it. You name great Rays players. They've been unable to keep them. It sucks, but they have to eventually trade them. They get minor league prospects in return. Those minor league prospects literally turn into the next best Rays players. And the Rays, with that payroll sitting at 46 and 35, only a half game back of the New York Yankees, who sit at 46 and 34. Kevin Cash in Tampa, again, just a ridiculous deal. As far as the Atlanta Braves and the Florida Marlins go, the Marlins 11 games under 500. They're 12 and a half back in the NL East. The Braves treading water as well, 37 and 43. They find themselves 10 games back. Isn't baseball funny? The New York Mets have lost like 11 of their last 13 games, and they still have a 10-game lead on Atlanta in the NL East. Now, Philadelphia is neck and neck with New York, only a half game back. But the Mets were so far above everybody else outside of Philly that even losing 11 out of 13, they still have a double-digit lead on the Braves, the Marlins, and the Nationals. Let's get back into the world of the National Football League. We'll go to Los Angeles at the bottom of the hour. Coming up next, let's go to Arizona. Tyler Drake, ArizonaSports.com, and the Cardinals Corner podcast. Calais Campbell back in Arizona. Zay Jones still in Arizona. How about Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison? What about these Arizona Cardinals? Could they make some noise in the NFC West? Tyler Drake is my guy out in Phoenix. He joins me next on a Friday night here in Jacksonville, Florida. It's Hacker After Dark.
Tensions build.
3rd and 12. Let's go.
Plot thickens.
We got to get off the field.
Crowds roar. Tune in and let the show begin. Your home for live play-by-play is 1010XL.
Born in Jacksonville, raised on Southern Rock, and coming home to the Florida Theater, it's Molly Hatchet. Saturday, June 28th. Get your fill of Southern Rock fury. Grab your seat at floridatheater.com. It's a hometown homecoming with Molly Hatchet.
Registration is now open for the Circle K Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament. Over $250,000 in cash and prizes available, with payouts up to 20 places. Of course, there's great prizes for lady anglers, and bring along your junior anglers as well. Register today at kingfishtournament.com. Even if you're not on the water, spectators will enjoy fun exhibits, food, kids' activities, and a fireworks display at the Circle K Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Man, I can't wait for Saturday. I'm going to the Jacksonville Axemen Rugby League game. They're playing the Southwest Florida Copperheads, and it's going to be good.
Rugby league is crazy. No pads or helmets. No, that's a real contact sport. Count me in.
Join the ratified credit union Jacksonville Axemen as they take on the Copperheads at the UNF Turf Field tomorrow night at 6:30. Tickets start at $10 and kids under 12 are free at jacksax.com.
Put the ball in the net with 60 minutes of soccer talk. The Coaches Show presented by Sporting Jacks. Cole Pepper, Sporting Jacks head of soccer Mark Warburton, and Sporting Jacks women's coach Stacey Baylor. Tuesday evenings at 6 on 1010 a.m.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Need the right tools for the job without the full-time price tag? Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach is what you need when you need it. From heavy machinery for commercial projects to weekend projects at the house, we've got you covered. We've been serving Jacks for 50 years. Visit Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach, just behind Aqua East Surf Shop, or call today. We also have event rentals too. Tucker Equipment Rentals. Tools you need without the price tag of purchasing.
Hi, folks. Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Life is just so busy this time of year. Between work, the kids' games, family vacations, I need a yard hero to free up my weekends.
You mean somebody who does mowing and trimming?
Yeah.
How about mosquito control?
Yeah.
What about irrigation and pet waste removal?
You do that too? You're my lawn hero.
Find your lawn hero at heroeslawncare.com. Heroes Lawn Care, because every lawn needs a hero.
Hey, Jacksonville Hicken here. I've been around the block or two, and Checkmate Coatings is who I'd call for my own place. They're my new MVP for stunning, long-lasting floors.
Brendan here with Checkmate Coatings. No massive overhead means top prices on top-quality pool decks, driveways, garages, and patios, too.
Visit CheckmateCoatings.com today. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
What is the busiest airport in the world?
Southern Oak Insurance is proud to continue offering coverage statewide. Financial stability makes Southern Oak Insurance a wise choice for your homeowner's insurance needs. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport is the busiest airport in the world, serving over 100 million passengers.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up?
Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. One division per week leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp. This week, it's all about the NFC West. We will make stops in Seattle, in Los Angeles, in San Francisco. Tonight, it's all about the Arizona Cardinals. Interesting offseason for Arizona, some expectations for the Cardinals. And what about a couple of former Jaguars, Zay Jones and Calais Campbell, now back with Arizona? Let's talk about all of it with my guy out in Arizona, Tyler Drake, ArizonaSports.com. He's also the host of the Cardinals Corner podcast, and Tyler's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Tyler, how we doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Always good to jump on with you, man. How you doing?
Hey, Tyler, we're good, man. Thank you for the time. All right, the off season for Arizona. Well, first, let's rewind back to last year. Just your thoughts on 2024. Maybe not as good as some thought Arizona could be coming into the year. How do you leave 2024 and approach the 2025 off season?
Yeah, really, it went from a moment of, wow, maybe they're exceeding expectations, maybe ahead of the curve a little bit, and then all of a sudden after that bye week, things just went south. A lot of losses came there. It's been a kind of a second half of the season collapse has been the theme for Kyler Murray and the Cardinals in recent years, so that was exactly what happened again. Obviously, they were at a point where it looked like, hey, they could very well take the NFC West. And like I said, I think it was week 10, week 11 bye. And after that, it was just all downhill from there. 8-9, not a bad record. I think if the season would have panned out differently and they fought their way to an 8-9, we're never in the conversation to be in the division chase. I think the optics would have been a little bit lighter, but seeing that they were that close and got to that point to just fall off, I think the expectations now are that much more. So I think 10 wins is probably the baseline heading into this season. But, last year I thought there was a lot of good. I thought we saw the defense get really creative underneath Nick Rawless, really, especially towards the end of the year there. I thought that they kind of, for what they had, they were doing just about all they could do. He really pulled the best out of Budda Baker. He had his best season as a pro. So that was a really, really strong positive there for Rawless moving into this year. I think he's very much a guy to watch as head coach in waiting. And I know that might sound crazy with a guy that young, but he's just got that potential, I believe, and just the way he schemes up defenses and gets guys in positions to succeed. Then offensively, you look at it, the run game was still really strong. But then you look over at the passing game, and Marvin Harrison, he had 8 touchdowns, and that's a really solid number for a rookie. But when you look at it, I think 885 yards receiving, that's kind of the fall off there. The inconsistencies were there. He actually had Kyler Murray on my podcast, and he spoke about how their communication took a step forward about halfway through the year. They started really talking to each other a lot more, and Marvin started opening up a lot more. So I think with a full offseason of work with him and Kyler, that should only be a positive moving forward. And again, I think eight touchdowns is probably the baseline, and you got to look at it probably a 1,200-yard projection there. Obviously, they've got Trey McBride as well, and he continues to be a dog. Just got paid this offseason too, so he's going to be here for a while. But he really is probably their best weapon heading into the season outside of Connor, outside of Kyler, outside of Marvin. It's got to be Trey, man. He's just consistent, wants to be a complete tight end, doesn't want to just catch the balls. He wants to put people in the dirt too. So a lot of expectations coming off of 2024, especially being that they were that close and being in the conversation for a division title, really ahead of schedule, in my opinion.
There's a lot of branches I want to get to with you. Let's kind of go rapid fire on a couple of these. Again, Tyler Drake, host of the Cardinals Corner podcast. You also check out his work at ArizonaSports.com. Marvin Harrison, you mentioned him. Not a bad rookie year by any stretch of the imagination. He was the first wide receiver to go in the 2024 draft class. But when you look at Malik Neighbors, at Brian Thomas Jr. here in Jacksonville, Ladd McConkey, I mean, is there pressure on Marvin Harrison Jr. coming into this year?
Yeah, I definitely think there is, just because, I mean, there's pressure. I think he'd be the first one to say that there's pressure, and I think he wants the pressure. He welcomes it. He's the number 4 pick. I mean, his dad, he's got the pedigree of being an NFL product right there, with his dad being Marvin and Marvin Sr. And so, yeah, I think there definitely is pressure, but it's almost welcome pressure. And he knows he's got to be better than he was. Like I said, 8 touchdowns is not bad whatsoever. But when you look at the rest of it, I think 62 catches, 885. Just, you've got to improve those if you're going to be a number 1 guy, especially if they took you at number 4 overall. So I'm expecting a big jump there. The touchdowns, you know, if he can get to 10, I'd love that. But right now, I think that's about that would be just fine right there. And then you just improve those receiving yards, improve that consistency with Kyler, continue to find different ways to get him open in Drew Petzing's scheme. That's a big thing too. Don't put him in a hole, have him move around, get in motion more. That's going to be the name of the game, I think, to really opening him up and getting him some more yards on the tally sheet moving forward.
There's a lot of questions, obviously, about Trevor Lawrence here in Jacksonville. What about Kyler Murray in Arizona? How does the fan base feel about him?
It is, I think it's probably about split 50-50, if I'm being honest. I think there's half the people think that he's a dynamic player that can get it done. He just needs the right supporting cast around him. And then there's the other half that it's year 7 and he's got 1 playoff game under his belt, and it was an atrocious one. So what's the deal here? Like, it's time to move on. So he's the most polarizing player maybe in Arizona sports out here right now, just because there's so many different viewpoints of how people think of him. I personally think he's a dynamic player. I think getting a supporting defense like they have now, I mean, it's all on him. He's got to perform right now, because they've filled the holes around him. Not so much offensively. I think that was a sign. I mean, Jacoby Brissett was their biggest addition this offseason, so I think that was a sign of they've got the tools. Now he's got to go out there and succeed. So they made the defense no longer a liability, more of an asset. Now it's on the offense to, hey, show us what you can do. So very polarizing. And it's interesting, too, because now you guys got Spencer Whipple, who was out here for a long, long time as the QB's coach. And I personally think he's a guy who could be an OC in the waiting. So I'm really interested to see what he can do down there. You guys got a couple guys down there now that are from Arizona.
Yeah, no doubt. Liam Cohen brought a lot of guys in, including Spencer Whipple. You look at Arizona, the roster, and a couple of former Jaguars there. Let's begin with Zay Jones. Zay Jones was a fan favorite here in Jacksonville, even though he was only here for basically 2 seasons. How did Zay Jones perform last year, and what are the expectations for him this year?
Well, obviously, I think the suspension was a big damper on everything. The 5 games that really did not. That was a good start to it. I personally thought he was a wide receiver 2 candidate when they signed him. That never really came to fruition, even when he got back on the field. I think there's a lot to be had there, though. I think there's still potential for him to really carve out a role there, especially with a guy like Michael Wilson. If Michael Wilson can't really take that next step, I think going with a veteran like Zay Jones would be really smart, because we've seen him perform before. I mean, we've seen him perform in Jacksonville. So I'm very interested to see what he can do with a full season and getting a full off season with the team. So that'll be definitely interesting. And then you look over at Calais. Oh man, I know that he was a big figurehead really wherever he goes, but getting him back in Arizona, I think just feels right. It's just seeing him in a Cardinals uniform. The dude just feels like he's at home. He talked about, didn't really want to leave to begin with, but everything happens for a reason. Had really good stops wherever he went and felt like that was what he needed to do. But yeah, he's very happy. And I mean, he could be a huge, huge factor here, not only on the field, being potentially a starter and given probably 30 snaps a game, I would say, but also looking at potentially what he can do as a mentor to guys like Darius Robinson, Walter Nolan, Dante Stills. Like, he is already, I think, leaving a mark on these guys. He's already seeing some of himself in Walter Nolan and Darius Robinson. So I'm really, really excited to see kind of the impact he can have, not only as a player, but as a leader in that locker room.
Couple of more for Tyler Drake, the host of the Cardinals Corner podcast. Also, ArizonaSports.com as our NFC West preview continues tonight, focusing on the Arizona Cardinals. Tyler, I love everything about James Conner. I think he's massively, undervalued, underrated among NFL running backs. He's been good for a long, long time. Getting up there in age a little bit. What are we thinking about James Conner here in 2025?
Yeah, and I agree with you there. I think he's very underrated for what he gives you year in and year out. Obviously, he's got a little bit of the injury past, but I mean, last year he had a great season on the injury side at least. So, I think if there's anybody that's going to keep pushing at this age, it's going to be him. He's talked about constantly by head coach Jonathan Gannon and everybody else about how he takes care of his body and how much he is just a pro off the field as much as he is on it. So, yeah, if there's a guy that's going to keep pushing 1,000 and keep continuing to be a bell cow at this age, it's going to be him. And I think that's what it is. I think Trey Benson is going to come in there and eat up some of those snaps. But at the end of the day, it's really James Conner's backfield until he's, until he's done. I really do think that he is a huge part of what this team wants to accomplish. And so I think he's just going to keep getting the rock when he's healthy, and they're going to work in Trey Benson. I think he could be the heir apparent there, but I think until James takes a big decline, it's his ball.
Speaking as a Trey McBride fantasy football owner, Tyler, can we get that guy in the end zone a little more this year? I mean, good grief, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think I think that'll change. That was a very weird situation, especially when he had rushing touchdown, a fumble recovery touchdown, but couldn't get a receiving touchdown until, it was just, believe you me, we were all baffled out here too. I think he was too. So I think that'll change though. I feel like there's going to be a lot more looks for Trey in the end zone this year.
As we begin to wrap up, overall defensive thought coming into the year, how's the defense looking? Again, their head coach was a defensive coordinator in Philadelphia, so you would expect the defense to be maybe one of the strong points.
Yeah, definitely. And I think now with the pieces that they have, I mean, they went out and the biggest swing in the offseason, in my opinion, was them getting Josh Sweat. And that is a reunion for head coach Jonathan Gannon, for defensive coordinator Nick Rallis, for Josh Sweat from their time in Philly. That was some of Sweat's best years were when they were in town. So I think a lot of potential there, a lot of expectation there. Josh Sweat already embracing kind of being the leader of this new defensive movement that they're having. They brought in Dalvin Tomlinson. You obviously know Calais Campbell. Very, very heavy on the defense. Went into the draft, Walter Nolan, and they got Will Johnson. He just joined the podcast too recently, and he was really great to talk with. Really, really eager to get after it. Really down to business. You can tell this guy is ready to get to work. But yeah, really, when you look at it across the board, I mean, you lose a guy like Dennis Gardeck. That guy was a fan favorite. I think believe he's out there with you guys now.
Yeah, he's a Jaguar now.
Let me tell you, you guys are going to love this guy. He is a very good dude. I think all of us collectively can say like we were pretty bummed to see him sign elsewhere just because of the type of person he is off the field. I mean, I got to see kind of his journey growing, coming through just I think from 2018. And it was just very cool to see the story of a guy who just fought his way through special teams, finally got a shot. 2020 was super special, but yeah. Looking back at the defense for the Cardinals, I mean, like I said, it's no longer a liability. It's no longer their weak point. It's now going to be one of their strong suits. And Nick Rallis, like I said, what he did with Budda Baker, I can only imagine this type of stuff he's going to get Josh Sweat doing. And I mean, you hope you see a guy like B.J. Ojulari get back on the field and take a jump. You hope some of these guys, Max Melton, the cornerbacks room is going to be something to watch just because Sean Murphy-Bunting's down for the year. Personally, I didn't think he was going to be a starter to begin with, just with the talent that they've got now, but going to be interesting to see how that all shakes out. And then obviously in the middle linebacker spot, Kaiser White I don't believe is coming back. They've signed a lot of dudes at that position. And now you look and see who's going to be the guy next to Mack Wilson Sr., who's going to call the defense. I think it's probably going to be Mack, but there's a lot of questions there, but it's a lot of good questions and questions that the Cardinals defense haven't had since this regime came to town in 2023 due to the lack of talent.
Tyler, we got 60 seconds. Leave us with this. The division as a whole. I think people think the Rams are going to be really good. And then there's a lot of question marks. Arizona, Seattle, certainly life without Geno Smith. And San Francisco seemed to lose an awful lot this offseason. How do you assess Arizona in the division heading into the year?
Yeah, it's very much a question mark with the Niners for me, just because of how much personnel turnover they have. I think they've got an idea of what they want to do, but they're still going to be in the equation, I think, until they are fully in a rebuild mode. But yeah, for me, I think it's Rams, Niners, Cardinals are all right there in a really tight group. And then you've got Seattle just a little bit behind. I just think there's a lot of question marks in Seattle for sure with what they've done this offseason. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. I think blowing it up like they did, I don't think they should have really done what they did personally after what we saw last year and them being close to the division. But I'm not the GM, I'm not the owner, I'm not the head coach. But I would say for me, it's tough because I just don't see San Francisco being as competitive as they have. So for me, I really think it's going to be more of a Rams-Cardinals back and forth. And who knows? I'm going to say that, and the Niners are going to come out and win every game. But that's what I've got right now. I think Rams and Cardinals have the continuity and are taking the steps forward. They should be the knockout punches for sure.
Tyler Drake is the host of the Cardinals Corner podcast. You also catch his work at ArizonaSports.com. He's our guy when it comes to the Arizona Cardinals. Tyler, appreciate the time, man. We'll talk again soon.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
The place for rowdy reptiles.
I can't believe what I just saw.
Where only Gators get out alive.
And this place is an inside asylum.
1010XL. Home of the Gators.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass. He told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm Mac with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Sometimes you agree with him, sometimes you don't.
On the runway, I'm coming in hot.
CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco joins the Frangie Show Friday afternoons on 1010XL. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to DreamfindersHomes.com for more details.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Hey, Hicken here, and you know I'm going to talk about skin. Yeah, it's hot outside, folks. The oven is on. Temps are in the 90s, and it's only getting hotter. I love the summer, but my skin doesn't. I do my best with dry fit shirts, big floppy hats, plenty of water. My secret weapon, though, the screen. Sunscreen. I use it regularly. Maybe you should as well. Look, I've also been seeing docs at Beaches Dermatology for years, and my skin thanks me for it. I'm telling you, it could save your life. Book your appointment today at beachesdermatology.com.
Your home is your sanctuary where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Spring is sprung, and so have the bugs. It's Hayes Carline, and my friends at Kingfish Pest Control offer an exclusive $99 spring special. That's right, your initial pest control service is just $99. And if you call today, they'll include a free one-time mosquito treatment. Kingfish Pest Control is family-owned, 5-star rated with no binding contracts and 100% satisfaction guarantee. Call them now to book your service. Only at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. One division per week leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp. This week, it's all about the NFC West. We will make stops in Arizona, in San Francisco, in Seattle. Right now, it's all about the Los Angeles Rams. We've called ourselves Rams East with Gladstone, Cohen, and the Rams connections here in Jacksonville. But what about this LA Rams football team heading into 2025? Brock Vieira is with the Rams on SI, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Brock, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Hey, Brock, we're good. Thank you for the time. All right, we're going to get into the Rams for the majority of this, but I have to ask you, from afar, Liam Cohen, James Gladstone, out in Los Angeles, are people keeping their eyes on what the former Rams guys are doing here in Jacksonville?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they have to, considering both Liam Cohen and James Gladstone tried to bring the entire organization with them out to Jacksonville. I mean, yes, some of the coaching hires didn't work out, but in the front office, it's full of former Rams guys, and especially with a guy like James Gladstone, who's forward-thinking, bringing in analytics and things like that. Where the Jaguars go, I think the NFL is going to follow.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. You know, with Gladstone in particular, he's turned into kind of a rock star here. The fans love him. I know Pat McAfee and his crew already have a nickname for him on their national show. Did you guys have any idea that Gladstone would be as popular as he is once he finally got a GM job?
Popular, definitely not as quickly as he has become. But definitely successful. The guy is a boy genius, to put it blankly. He is a babyface assassin. And when you're able to grow under a guy like Les Snead, how he's been for so many years, that's so much experience that he's able to take with him at such a young age to a place like Jacksonville, where he doesn't have much interference from ownership and is able to do what he needs to do in order to be successful.
Brock Vieira, Rams on SI, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, the Los Angeles Rams. I guess the big news of the offseason, Cooper Kupp out, Davante Adams in. How has, from one all-pro receiver to another, how has that transition gone?
It's been a phenomenal transition, and I was fortunate enough to watch Davante Adams perform at OTAs, and let me tell you, he looks phenomenal. Now, of course, OTAs, they don't have pads on. They only have jerseys and shorts, so you have to take that with a grain of salt. But when you look at the different dynamic he puts into that wide receiver room, being taller, a bigger body wide receiver, a guy Matthew Stafford can target at different spots in the field, do things that he wasn't able to do with Cooper Kupp. When you have those different elements, it makes Stafford a much more comfortable, confident quarterback. And you start to see the Rams offense truly expand in ways that we haven't seen in a couple of years.
You know, the crazy thing is the Rams were in Maui. They called it Maui Camp. Sean McVay took the organization out to Hawaii for that. What a great idea. What a team bonding experience I'm sure that was. Certainly outside the box thinking. Sean McVay, everybody wants the next Sean McVay, Brock. I mean, you look at the coaching tree from Zach Taylor to Matt LaFleur to Kevin O'Connell, now Liam Cohen. Sean McVay's, 40 years old, not even. He's already got a great coaching tree in the NFL. What is it like to cover a guy like that every day?
It's a lot of fun, especially because the environment that he creates with the Los Angeles Rams. It's fun, it's exciting, it's positive. You don't hear anything negative going on. The players always enjoy being out there, especially when they go to team periods. It's competitive and it's simple. There's not drama. There's not anything that takes away from just focusing on the game. And for me, coming into a Rams organization now, it's like year 9 of the McVay era. It's such a fine-tuned product that it's watching professionals operate at a level that we don't get to see with many other organizations.
You mentioned Matthew Stafford earlier, I believe 37 years old. I saw a crazy stat that last year Stafford, when he was getting blitzed, was, quite frankly, not very good. And when he had time in the pocket, he might have been the best quarterback in the league statistically. So I know a lot's going to be counted on with the Rams' offensive line. But what are we thinking about Stafford entering, this 37th year on planet Earth coming into 2025? How has he looked so far? What's his outlook for the 2025 season?
It looks good. I think that Stafford, at the end of the season, is going to be a top MVP candidate. First of all, he looked healthy, happy, and just rejuvenated. Now that he doesn't have to worry about any contract issues or situations entering training camp this year, he's been able to focus on football. And when you look at how he's been able to move out there at practice, he looks 5-6 years younger. His arm looks fresh. And the best part for Stafford and the entire Rams organization is that they were able to bring in certain weapons and tools to help him counter any situation. Last year, they were dealing with a ton of injuries on the offensive line and with the wide receiver core that limited Stafford's ability to do things. And for a large part in the first part of the season, he had to throw the Rams back into games, leading to fatigue, and that's why we saw a decreased product. Once he was able to rest up and the Rams got healthy, especially in the playoffs, we saw him kind of return to that form that we're used to. Now that the Rams have brought in a veteran center in Coleman Shelton, a guy that was a member of the Rams from 2019 to 2023, so he understands the system, it takes a little less responsibility off of Stafford in terms of signal calling on the offensive line. You have a bigger body wide receiver in Davante Adams, a speed threat in Tutu Atwell, a dominant player in Puka Nacua that can do a lot of things. And don't sleep on some of the other wide receivers, Jordan Whittington, Konata Mofield, and such. With all those guys, I think Stafford is going to be able to dissect defenses a lot more effectively this year just because he has a lot less things to worry about.
Couple more for Brock Vieira. Rams on SI is where you find his work, and Brock is with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, defensively, we know all about Jared Verse and Braden Fisk from their time at Florida State. Both guys just phenomenal rookie campaigns. Brock, how have both looked this offseason heading into year number 2?
They have looked phenomenal, and Braden Fisk had to clean up some issues with his shoulder, so he got that taken care of, so he looks fresh. Jared Verse, obviously what we saw at the end of last season, his performance against Philadelphia, that's just continuing, and Verse in a recent press conference broke down exactly how he's improving his product, and it all starts with communication. He talked about growing his relationship with Fisk and with Colby Turner, Byron Young, and about how he can do certain things when he's paired up with certain guys to create more advantageous situations for the entire defense in general. And then as far as the entire defense, the way that they have fixed the front seven, I think is going to be the true difference maker for them this year. Obviously, we know about the stout defensive line, but the true Achilles heel of their defense was a linebacking core. We saw Omar Spates, an undrafted free agent out of LSU via Oregon State last year, really step up. But adding guys like Nate Landman and also Pooh Paul Jr. in the draft, I think that the front sevens we're going to see massive improvement in the Rams overall entering the season.
You know, the Rams are one of the teams, Brock, that's been linked to Jalen Ramsey. There's rumors that he wants to come back to the West Coast, maybe come back to the Rams in particular. What do we know about Ramsey and the Rams? Could that potentially happen before training camp?
It could potentially happen, though right now it's not likely. Sean McVay has held the same position that he's had since week one of OTAs, which is they're keeping every door open. There hasn't been much communication, if any, with the Miami Dolphins since the NFL draft. However, while there is interest, there are a bunch of financial hurdles that are in the way. One of the things that maybe was about to push the Ramsey to the Rams was them releasing Darion Kendrick. It freed up about like $3 million in cap space, a little bit over, but they re-signed Kendrick, so that kind of changes things. However, Ramsey was recently photographed in Los Angeles. He was working out with Eric Weddle, a former member of the Los Angeles Rams, and his son. So the door remains open. It just seems that no one's willing to step through it quite yet.
Brock, as we begin to wrap up and talking to people around the division, this is kind of what I've gathered this week. The Rams are probably the favorites going in, and then there's maybe a step down, and then there's a battle royal between Arizona, Seattle, and San Francisco, all three of which should be pretty good this year. It's going to be a good division. I mean, is that the way you see it? The Rams probably the favorite going in, but they have little room for error with those three teams behind them?
That's exactly how I see it, especially with the Rams playing a first-place schedule this year and the Cardinals playing a third place and the 49ers playing a fourth-place schedule. 49ers and Cardinals are obviously going to have an easier road to win the NFC West, but with the Rams having the most talent in the division, of course, that's where their advantage comes in. The talent gap between those three teams is very minimal, if any. And when you look at how the Cardinals have been able to build up their roster, putting in players on the defensive line that mimic what Jonathan Gannon had in Philadelphia in 2022 when they had 4 double-digit sack artists. And then we look at the offensive side, Marvin Harrison Jr. looks like he might break out. Trey McBride is that high-level player, and Kyler Murray looks healthy. The Cardinals are nothing to play around with, especially considering they were able to get Will Johnson in the second round. Same thing with the 49ers. I love their approach to the draft, focusing on defense early, giving Robert Saleh his guys to kind of reestablish that strong, dominant defensive culture that propelled them to their early success with Kyle Shanahan. And now that Brock Purdy is locked up, they don't contractually, they don't have to worry about that for a while. Seattle, I do have some massive questions. They lost a lot of guys, and I personally had massive questions on Sam Darnold. But when you look at a guy like Mike McDonald, that type of defenses he has been able to create in the past at the collegiate and NFL levels, I think the Rams, that's why you've seen them so focused at OTAs, because they know that they cannot play around and they cannot get to a slow start for the third consecutive year because they will not recover in a division this talented.
And, of course, the Jaguars play all 4 teams in the NFC West, which includes the Los Angeles Rams over at Wembley Stadium in London there during Week 7. Brock, final question. I'm sure you don't get a lot of Hunter Long questions, but he was the only player that James Gladstone brought with him from L.A. this offseason. What did the Jaguars get there with Hunter Long?
I think they have a player, one straight-up effort guy. this guy that, well, first off, straight professional and then straight effort guy. He's always going to be there early. He's always going to do what he's asked. He's always going to give everything he's got for the team. And it can be utilized in a variety of situations. What I see from the Rams using Hunter Long for, the Jaguars using Hunter Long for, is obviously a rotational tight end who can help perform some of the blocking responsibilities Liam Cohen needs to establish a strong rushing attack. Obviously, what we saw in Tampa Bay with Liam Cohen, Baker Mayfield was a supernova. There's no doubt about it. But that was helped out by having a big season by Bucky Irving, where Irving established himself as a top 10 running back. Whoever the Jaguars, we talk about the Rams so much, whoever the Jaguars go with in terms of their running back rotation, Hunter Long is going to play a role in helping them out, as well as playing a role in other aspects of the field, potentially on special teams as well.
Brock Vieira, Rams on SI. He's one of our guys when it comes to the Los Angeles Rams. Brock, appreciate it. We'll do it again the week of Wembley Stadium when the Jaguars take on the Rams over there in London. Thank you as always.
I appreciate you for having me. Take care.
And thank you to Brock Vieira, Rams on SI, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark as that rounds out our NFC West preview. We've made stops in Los Angeles, in San Francisco, in Seattle, and in Arizona. Look, the one thing I've gathered talking to people throughout the division in the NFC West this week, looks like the Rams are probably the slight favorite going in. San Francisco looking to rebound. And then some uncertainty, but some positive momentum, I guess, in both Seattle and in Arizona. We'll see. Again, the Jaguars are going to get an up-close and personal look at all four of these teams. The Jaguars play all four. They play the Rams over at Wembley Stadium in London. They, of course, play Seattle here, and they will travel out to Arizona and to San Francisco. So we do appreciate all of our correspondents this week in the NFC West joining us here on Hacker After Dark. We spent some time on that. Spent some time on the NBA draft as Walter Clayton, Elijah Martin, and Will Richard all got drafted. Of course, Walter Clayton to Utah, Elijah Martin to Toronto, Will Richard to Golden State. Pretty awesome that the defending national champions here with the Florida Gators had not one, not two, but all three of their guys in the backcourt that led them to that national title get drafted in the NBA draft. And, of course, we spent some time on the Jacksonville Jaguars, now about 3 weeks away from the guys reporting for camp. Training camp will be here before we know it. Obviously, we're never going to go too far away from Jaguar talk here on Hacker After Dark, and we did spend some time on that as well. Well, that will just about do it, man. It has been a crazy busy week here on Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Brock Vieira, Rams on SI. Also, thank you to Tyler Drake of ArizonaSports.com and the Cardinals Corner podcast as they both rounded out our NFC West previews tonight. I want to thank Kurt Weiler of the Osceola over there in Tallahassee for talking a little Florida State with us. I figured we'd talk a lot about the Gators in the last couple of weeks. I want to start talking about Florida State, Miami as well. Boy, Thomas Castellanos, the quarterback for FSU, made some noise this week, didn't he? With those thoughts he had about Alabama. So we appreciate Kurt Weiler of the Osceola joining us tonight, and my buddy Travis Holmes of Big Cat Country. He's also a host of the Duval Dive podcast. We always thank Travis for hopping on with us here to talk a little Jaguars and preview Jaguar training camp. Now, we will be back on Monday. Next week's going to be pretty wild again. I'll be sitting in with Hayes Carline on the Frangie Show every day from 4 to 6 o'clock, and then I'll be right back here with you from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock on Hacker After Dark, and we do hope that you join us then. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green, and again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending not only your Friday evening, but all week with us here on Hacker After Dark. As we always tell you, and we cannot possibly tell you